This passage is a warning to all of us who are reading the New Testament in a year or the Bible in a year, because what it shows is we can diligently study the scripture. We can come to it every single day and study it, and we can still completely miss the point. Jesus is talking to a whole load of Jewish leaders who would have read their scriptures probably a lot more than we read ours, and many of them would have memorized the entire Old Testament, which is crazy when you think about that. And he's saying to them, even though you've done all of this, you've still missed it, because what the scriptures are there for and what they're about is they point towards me. And where we go wrong is if we think that reading the Bible is about trying to get more information in our heads, or if we think it's about trying to have, who can quote the most Bible verses at one another. It's not about that. It's because we want to know Jesus. It's about relationship. It's about friendship with him. And the more we know this book, the more we have the opportunity to come to know him, but only if we recognize that this isn't the meal in itself. This is the menu. You know, if you go into a restaurant and they give you a menu, you don't start eating the menu. You recognize that what the menu describes is something that's available for you to eat. In the same way, when we read about the stuff that are on the pages of this book, and we see it describes grace, or it describes forgiveness, or it describes God's help in time of need, those things are the things that are available. And then we come to God through prayer, and we ask him for that. And sometimes we can pray the scripture, or we can just pray in our own words, but we seek the things that we read about in the book from God. The point is not that we get through the Bible, it's that we get the Bible through us, and that we get all that this means into our souls. So Jesus is saying, don't waste your time just studying the scriptures for the sake of it. Study them so that you and I can have more of a friendship, so that I can talk to you. And he's actually saying the whole of the Bible. When he talks about scripture, he's talking about the Old Testament, because the New Testament hadn't been written yet. He's saying the whole of the Bible, whatever part of it you're reading, in some way it's pointing towards me, and don't miss the point of that. And then the final verse I just want to pick up on, he says, this verse always scares me a little bit. He says, how can you believe, since you accept glory? Another way of saying glory is praise. You accept praise from one another, but do not seek the praise that comes from the only God. I know that too often that's how I live out my days. I seek praise from people, and I make no effort to obtain the praise that comes from the only God. Today, let's worry a little less about whether people are praising us. People are very fickle. One day they'll praise us, the next day they won't. But God's praise is the one that we should be seeking today. How are you doing that? In what way are you asking for his praise? In what way are you seeking to please him before and above anyone and anything else?